The story of Jesus and children. On a warm afternoon in ancient Judea, where olive trees cast dappled shadows on dusty paths, Jesus sat teaching those who had gathered to hear his words of wisdom. The air was filled with the gentle murmur of his voice as he shared stories of hope and love, while his disciples stood nearby, carefully managing the growing crowd of listeners. Among those drawn to Jesus that day were mothers and fathers, carrying little ones in their arms and holding the hands of children who walked beside them. They had heard stories of this gentle teacher, of his healing touch and kind heart, and they longed for him to bless their children. The little ones themselves seemed to sense something special about Jesus, their eyes drawn to his warm smile and welcoming presence. The children's laughter and whispered questions floated on the breeze, mixing with the serious tones of adult conversation. Some bounced with eager energy, while others hung shyly behind their parents' robes, peeking out with curious eyes at the man who spoke with such gentleness and authority. The disciples, however, saw things differently. Concerned about protecting their master's time and energy, they began to turn the families away. Their voices, though trying to be kind, carried notes of dismissal as they explained that Jesus was too busy with important teachings to be bothered with children. But Jesus, observing this scene unfold, felt something stir in his heart. The sound of disappointed children and the sight of parents turning away caused him to pause in his teaching. His voice, warm and clear, carried across the gathering with gentle authority that immediately drew everyone's attention. "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them," he said, his words flowing like honey on a summer breeze. "For the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." The disciples stepped back, understanding dawning in their eyes as they watched their master welcome the very ones they had tried to turn away. As the children approached, Jesus opened his arms in welcome, creating a space of safety and acceptance. Some of the little ones ran to him immediately, their small feet pattering on the packed earth, while others moved forward more slowly, encouraged by gentle parental hands and Jesus' warm smile. The afternoon light caught the dust motes stirred by their movement, creating a golden haze around the gathering. Jesus sat comfortably on the ground, making himself accessible to even the smallest child. His eyes sparkled with genuine delight as he welcomed each one, showing no hurry or impatience. A toddler with curly hair stumbled into his lap, while an older child showed him a small flower she had found. He received each gesture and approach with the same genuine attention, as if each child were bringing him the most precious gift in the world. Some children touched his beard with wonder, while others simply leaned against his shoulder, finding comfort in his presence. A small boy with scraped knees showed Jesus his injury, and Jesus listened with the same attention he gave to adults seeking healing. A shy little girl offered him a piece of bread from her family's lunch, and he accepted it with gracious thanks that made her smile bloom like a desert flower after rain. To the amazement of the watching adults, Jesus seemed completely at ease in this informal gathering. He did not speak down to the children or dismiss their questions. Instead, he entered fully into their world, seeing things through their eyes of wonder and responding to their simple trust with equal openness. As he blessed each child, placing his hands gently on their heads, his touch carried more than just a formal blessing. It conveyed acceptance, value, and love that seemed to wrap around each small soul like a warm embrace. Parents watched with tears in their eyes as their children received what they had hoped for, not just a quick prayer, but a moment of true connection with this remarkable teacher. The disciples stood watching, their earlier resistance transformed into understanding as they witnessed this beautiful interaction. Through Jesus' actions, they began to see these children not as interruptions to ministry, but as examples of how to receive the kingdom of heaven. In the gentle quiet of that afternoon, Jesus shared a profound truth with those gathered around him. Unless you become like these little children, he explained softly, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. His words settled over the crowd like evening dew, inviting them to observe the qualities that made children such perfect examples of faith. He spoke of their natural trust, their openness to love, their ability to receive gifts with pure joy. Children approached him without pretense or complexity, their hearts open and their spirits free from the barriers that adults often build. They did not question whether they were important enough or worthy enough to receive his attention. They simply came, believing they would be welcomed. The gathering slowly dispersed as the sun began its descent toward the horizon. But the lesson remained, floating in the hearts of all who witnessed it. Parents carried sleepy little ones home, their arms full of children who had been blessed, their minds full of new understanding about the nature of divine love. Let this gentle scene remind you of your own precious worth. Like those children who approached Jesus with such natural trust, you too are invited to set aside complexity and simply receive love. There is no need for elaborate preparations or perfect words. You are welcomed just as you are. Perhaps we can learn from the way children approach life with wonder and openness, their ability to trust, to forgive quickly, to find joy in simple things, and to love without reservation. These are not signs of immaturity, but glimpses of spiritual wisdom. In their uncomplicated faith, we see a pattern for our own relationship with divine love.